Hi everyone, how are you? I hope everybody has enjoyed this beautiful day as much as I have. It is gorgeous here in New Hampshire. Finally, of course, it's going to get into the 90s. As soon as it gets nice, it gets hot. Um, but great day biking and just enjoying the weather. And I was thinking about a situation that happened for me this past week or two, and I don't know why it popped into my mind, and I just thought that this is something I wanted to talk about and to share. And the reason I want to talk and share about it is, consistent with the quote from the Dalai Lama that I'm posting, is about compassion and empathy. And you know, especially in veterinary medicine, but in many areas of life, we're often faced with situations where, people can be jerks and we deal with it all the time. And, it's not about laying down and just tolerating things or being treated like garbage, but it's about being aware that how we respond to people sometimes can really shift. There's a saying and it says, when you transform, the people around you change. And it's really remarkable how that works. So, who we are being, the space where we're coming from, the energy that we're putting forth incredibly impacts people. And even when somebody is being jerky, for lack of a better word, so often there's something behind it that we don't know. And then we get caught up in our own stuff and our reactions, and, we get all pissed and like, oh, why is he being that way? And I'm putting up. And sometimes it just is what it is. But there's so many times where if we are able to give up being right about the fact that they're jerky, just because we choose to, for no other reason, it really can alter the outcome. And that takes just shifting to a place of compassion and empathy, and which are really just forms of love. I don't want to use that word because it seems so strong, in a situation that I'm going to share. But just shifting that energy to compassion and empathy just because you choose to. Like somebody screaming and yelling at you, like being total jerks, and you have every right to just. But if you just choose to shift who you're being, sometimes the situation can be so different. So we had a situation about 2 weeks ago or so where a client, felt that his dog was in pain from the mouth. There had been some drooling and some issues. So he scheduled a dental procedure at our practice with my associate. And halfway through there was 2 dentistries that day, and halfway through the previous dentistry, the dental x-ray sensor stopped communicating with the computer, because we love technology when it works, right? So this man's little dog had not had any pre-meds yet, had no drugs on board, and we don't do dentistry without x-rays at all, ever. Full mouth x-rays, every patient, every time. So they, not me, but people at my practice called this man and explained that we had a technology issue, that we cannot take dental x-rays, and that we're going to need to postpone your dog. Your dog is great. He's fine. He hasn't had any drugs. He's happy. He's been walked. He's got water. Like, everything's good. But we're going to have to postpone. Well, apparently, I don't know all the details, but the guy was not nice. And he was like yelling and screaming and giving everybody a hard time and demanding that we do it half price, which of course is not going to happen. And just really, he was not being very understanding and kept accusing us of leaving his dog in pain, which is silly, obviously. We offered pain medication to go home. He declined one, took the other, but just really was not being very nice about it. And then over the next week or so, we're trying to get the sensor replaced, and this, whole process, it's not a cheap item, right? It's not like I can just run to Walgreens and pick up a new dental x-ray sensor. It's many thousands of dollars. And So, people talking to him and trying to explain, and just again, him just not being understanding, not being very nice. I feel like this image is getting very dark, and I don't know why. I'm just going to turn on my light real quick. Okay, let's hope that that's better. So fast forward, we finally, get this x-ray sensor and we reschedule this appointment. But guess what? It now lands on my day. Now, I love dentistry. Dentistry is one of my areas of special interest. I do tons and tons of it, and I love it, and I'm good at it. However, I feel really strongly that I do not like putting anybody's pet under anesthesia when there's any negative energy. If they don't have faith in me, if they don't trust me, anybody in veterinary practice and medical practice, really any service industry at all, knows that the relationship has to be based on trust and understanding. So this was a man who had seen one associate, was scheduled with the other associate for the procedure that had to be canceled, and now he's landing with me. So I've never met this guy, and he's pissed at us from what I'm hearing. So I was just like, what are you, like, you're like, great, like, I get the jerk, and I got to put his dog under anesthesia, and like, I was just really dreading it, because it's just not desirable, and who wants to deal with the jerk, right? I'm like, this is just the make wrong waiting to happen. No matter what I do, he's going to find some problem with it, blah, blah, blah. So I come in that day, kind of, I wouldn't say anxious, but just a little, like, I got to do this procedure today, right? So here I am, like, who am I being, right? Like, I'm coming into work. This poor dog is going to go under this procedure with a veterinarian who's dreading it and feeling like she got stuck with the procedure. Like, first of all, that's totally not fair to the dog. And I personally don't think we should ever bring a negative energy into anything we do, right? So I'm just very aware of all this that's going on inside of me. So I was thinking about this guy, and I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to just give up making him wrong, and I'm going to just bring compassion and empathy, because I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know what's going on in his life. So I called him up that morning. I examined his dog, called him up, and I introduced myself, and I said, hey, I just wanted to touch base. We have not met, and I did not want you feeling like you had a stranger working on your dog today. And he was like, oh, wow, thank you. I said, yeah. I said, I know it's really scary, when you bring your pet in for a procedure and it already had to get postponed and you've been concerned that he's been in pain. And I also get that to feel like just some person you don't even know is working on your dog is really difficult. So I just wanted to call and introduce myself and tell you I just did a complete examination on him. He does have dental disease. Here's what I expect, blah, blah, blah. Explain the whole thing. And do you have any questions about anything? And he didn't have any questions. He was super nice and thanked me profusely for calling. So just because I chose for no reason, like, I literally had every right, was justified, and everybody would have agreed with me if I just walked in and been like, all right, guys, you ready? And been like, oh, this is that jerk's dog, look, right? Like, I totally could have gone on the day like that, and nobody would have questioned it, because it was totally legit. And sometimes totally legit and totally something everybody agrees with is not what provides you with the most happiness or the best outcome. Because what happened as a result of me having this conversation, not only was he way happier, he was touched, he was thanking me. So I guarantee you this entire day for him was way lower in anxiety. But for me, everything shifted for me. I now completely changed the energy with this man, and all angst, all dread, all worry about make wrong, all of that just disappeared. So my entire day, like, I was very aware of how much more relaxed I was, how, just the interaction with it, everything just shifted, right? So it's really something is when we can just choose to shift to love, compassion, empathy for somebody who's being a jerk, a client, a coworker, a loved one, a partner, a child. and just under store clerk, whatever, and just sometimes just for no reason other than you choose to, even if you have to make it up, is, we just don't know what people are going through. Like the person who's a jerk at the store, you could just make it up. I've done that. I've made up stories like, ugh, what a jerk. And then I'm like, you know what? He's really lonely at home and he's hurting. Like I just make it up, and then my whole energy towards that person shifts. And so often then they shift back to me in a positive way. It's just, we all can choose this at any moment. And what happens is then when he shifts back positive to me, I'm happier. So we are in such control of our experience of life by who we are and what we bring forward and what we choose moment to moment. And it's not to say you can never be pissed. And it's not to say you can never just be a jerk back. It's not wrong. It's just, what has a better outcome for you? What works? It's about what works and what doesn't work. It's sometimes I like to break things down into not like, well, I think, or I should, or she's da-da-da. What works? What works for what you're trying to achieve? If what you're trying to achieve is that you want to be angry and right, and then great. Then that's not wrong or bad. What I'm suggesting though is that we have the power in every moment. We do have that choice if that's not what we want. So the day went on, I had to extract some teeth, called the guy after. I said, hey, he did great. His name was Jackson. Jackson's awake. He did great. There were no concerns with anesthesia. But as I had told you ahead of time, I definitely found some teeth that needed to be removed, blah, blah, blah. I explained it all to him. So set up a pickup time. With this whole COVID thing, our dentistry discharges are not what they usually are. I usually have them in the room. I show them the x-rays. Can't do any of that right now. So I said, when you get here, I can't go through this whole process with you, but my nurse will reiterate everything I just told you, bring you your medication, because I went through all the post-op care and everything. So later on, he comes, he picks up the dog, and later my nurse said that this man, when she handed him his dog, he started crying. His being a jerk was so much out of worry and fear. And it all shifted when he felt that he didn't have to worry and be afraid anymore. And especially once the procedure was over and he felt like that his dog had relief, he literally started crying in the parking lot when the nurse handed him his dog. So it just goes to show you, like, it just never is what it seems. And we're all dealing with a lot right now. Tensions are high. People, I read on Facebook constantly, like, about all these people who are being mean and nasty, and it's just awful. Like, it's not necessary. And they just don't see that is just bringing them more angst. But on the other side of the table, for people who are working and having these nasty people come in and be mean or whatever, I guess I would suggest is that in each and every case, for your own experience of life, you can control how you respond. And I did, because it's normal, have originally a negative response. But what happens is the more you practice this, the fewer the negative reactions are and the shorter they live, right? I still had great, I get this guy's all pissed off at the world and I now have to do his dentistry, like I never even met him. Of course I had that reaction, but it becomes now so quick that I see it and I see the choice. And I can sometimes choose to just go with the negative, and I can choose not to. But the more you choose not to, the more you see the shifts that occur. And you stay in those negative places for shorter periods of time, and they come up less frequently. It's like lifting weights, you get better at it. It's easier over time. The first day you're like, oh my God, my sore muscles, and you can't, the 10-pound dumbbell. And next thing you know, you're curling 20 pounds. And life and happiness is like that. It takes work. It takes something. It takes giving up something. It's about giving up being right. There's a saying, it's about giving up being right even when you are right. Like, it's not being right and worrying about who's right and wrong gets you nowhere. I was totally right that he was a jerk. I'm putting that in air quotes, right? Because of course nobody's really a jerk and nobody's right about that. But according to me and easily my peers, I could have been right about him being a jerk, and that would have gotten me nowhere. So giving that up and shifting my energy and who I was being is what made all the difference in the world. And so as we are dealing right now, especially with COVID protocols, and tensions are high and staff are running their butts off. We're all exhausted. It's inefficient, it's tiring, and people are on edge. And, not so much at my practice, but I read on Facebook, people dealing with clients that are mad that they can't come in the building. And it's just, right? And so the only thing that we can do, barring just quitting our jobs and going home, which is not what we want to do, we want to keep doing our jobs and be happy doing our jobs, is it's here. It all starts with us. As Michael Jackson says, the man in the mirror. And so you, me, like, we have the power to shift every single moment. It's our response to a situation that affects our quality of life. So I don't know why I was biking today and thinking about that, and that quote from the Dalai Lama, if you want to be happy, have compassion. If you want others to be happy, have compassion. It's really all it comes down to. That's it. So enjoy the weekend. We all have tomorrow off, unless you're in emergency medicine, and then I'm sorry. But the rest of us have tomorrow off, hopefully. And enjoy another day with doing whatever makes you happy. Find something, go read a book on a swing, on a rocking chair. Depending on where you live, if it's nice out, go for a ride, go for a walk, spend some time with your pet, your children, your loved ones. Garden, do your pottery, do your painting, whatever it is that makes you happy. And especially if you're feeling down in the dumps and you feel that you're not happy, you have to force yourself. Every minute you find something to do that makes you happy. If you used to love to paint and haven't painted in 20 years, just make yourself go pick up a paintbrush. Even if you think you don't even remember how, find what makes you happy. So, Phoebe's barking. Say hi. Say hi to everybody. Hi, Phoebe. So, Phoebe's happy when she's barking. So anyway, hope you all have a great night, and I'll see you soon. Bye.